Welcome to Joy of Business with host Simone Milasas, a dynamic business leader with a difference. Simone has founded and operated many businesses from a young age and has always done business differently. Today, Simone is the worldwide coordinator of Access Consciousness and travels the world presenting Joy of Business programs using access tools and empowering people to know that they can create business in a different way and make money doing it. Simone Milasas, weekly on OMTimes Radio.
Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this wonderful, wonderful world. This is Simone Milasas with The Joy of Business. And today I'm joined by the lovely Kass Thomas. Welcome, Kass.
Thank you so much, Simone. How are you? Good morning and good evening to you.
I know.
And everything in between.
Exactly. So actually this is one of the things that is the topic that we've got in here today. But it's like, Kass, I've known Kass for, quite a few years now. And we both travel around the world so much. We work around the world. We travel around the world. Now, Kass, you're originally from Boston.
Boston.
I got it right.
Boston,
yes.
Massachusetts, yes.
But has lived in Italy now for how long?
Oh, almost 20 years.
20 years. Married to a wonderful, wonderful man called Marco who makes the most amazing Italian meatballs. So you get to travel around the world. So we're always like, I just rang Kass before and I'm like, good morning, it's my 6 a.m. and you're in Hungary at the moment, correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, and it's almost your like 11. Well, it's your 11 p.m. So
yeah,
it's like
it's 10 p.m. We put whatever that is. It's 10 p.m. here. Yeah.
So one of the things that okay, I'm going to get straight into this part because one of the things I notice is that people have this point of view that it's like it's a little bit different nowadays. Like it's not so much like must do business from 9 to 5, must have Sunday afternoon off, family day, barbecue, must not work. This all these sort of projections on what working should look like. And for you and I, it's like, I know when I'm in Australia, the majority of my meetings are at 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m. because that's while Europe's awake and while US is awake. And it's like, I know for you, it's like a lot of the times it's like that, 10, 11, even midnight,
Exactly.
you guys are meeting up.
And there's that window where if you're going to have some sleep, you better get it now because somebody's about to wake up or to get active.
There's always somebody awake.
Exactly. I know for me, when I'm in Rome or on Central European time, that window is usually somewhere between 11:30 at night and 1 a.m. If I stay up and work past 1 a.m., which I often do, it's 4 a.m. in a moment. It's like boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, oops, Australia's up. Here we go.
I know. I think mine starts from 3 to 5 in the afternoon. But if Americans are staying up late and Europeans are waking up early, then it's bad luck. It's 24 hours. So, but hey, I love it. I know you love it.
I love it too.
And it's totally expanded our entire reality. And you learn to create around it. Like there's certain things. This morning it's like I've got, all these different meetings, but then at 10 o'clock I have a pedicure. And at 12:15 today, I'm doing some boxing, with a friend of mine. But then I'm back into meetings at 4 p.m. So it's like you just you learn to work your day around it. You learn to create what's going to work for you, what's going to work for the business. So the show title of this is Go Beyond, Create Your Life and Your Business Anywhere You Choose. So, which I just love that because it's like nowadays too, with the internet, with all of that, for years and years and years, anywhere I've got 2 phones, I've got my iPad and I've got my computer. I can literally go anywhere in the world.
And I love one of the pictures you had for the Joy of Business was with you on a beach somewhere or something with your computer there, or on a park or something like that, with lying down with your computer there.
It is in Costa Rica. Yeah.
Is that in Costa Rica? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just have to ask you when you say boxing, because I love languages, and even within the English language, we have the Brits, and then Scottish accent, and then the Irish and the Aussies, and the New Zealand. Does that mean you're putting on gloves, or does that mean you're boxing stuff up in a box so that you're going boxing?
No, that means I'm putting on gloves.
Okay.
And we've got pads and stuff, and we're doing some martial arts. We're doing some boxing. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that.
So
I
I
love
used to
that.
be, I was third in New South Wales for karate in the kumite, which is the fighting, years and years and years ago. So I love martial arts. It's one of my, side things, which is interesting because, when you do travel so much and it's like you don't get, like, I mean, I used to study martial arts, train 2, 3 times a week, go in tournaments, do all that sort of stuff. And of course, now it's not as easy to do that because I do travel so much. Yeah, I will find that space to include it. And it's like, because for me, I really like it. My body really likes it. So it's not so easy to, join the local hockey team or something like that because you're not there. You're not available weekly. But it's like, what sort of things do you do, Cass, about, going beyond creating your life and your business anywhere you can choose? And how do you honor you?
It's what's interesting is that 9 to 5. You were talking about that 9 to 5, and so many people. I forget that people actually still do those kind of 9 to 5 jobs because I have
There
so
are
many
people out
friends.
there.
I know that so many friends and colleagues like you, and it continuously. The more you're traveling around, and the more you're creating your own schedule, the more of you that seems to show up. And I love even having these conversations because I mean that sounds like a pretty big part of your life if you were in tournaments and doing martial arts. And I've known you for over 10 years, and I never knew that. I never, you know, and what I've been discovering too, just in traveling around and working around, that everything comes into play. I went to high school, uh, grade grammar school. I think they call it grade school in English, real English, not American English, and and in Boston, and then I went to New York for college and stayed in New York for 15 years and married there, worked in the hotel industry for years, hotel management, concierge, chef concierge, always working with people. I had a theater there, an off-Broadway theater. I ran a theater, and they invited me to my high school to give a talk to the students there. And so I went to the high school, and as I started thinking about, what am I going to talk to them about? It's not like I've done something specific. I've been doing a lot of different things. I've worked in hotel, I've worked in theater, I've worked in, now at the time when I went there, I was traveling around as a road manager for a jazz group. And when I started thinking about the talk, I started thinking about how every single thing that we've done in our lives sort of prepares us for whatever it is we're doing now when we are creating our own business, creating our own lives, how to bring all of that into play. And that's something that I find that people who do 9 to 5 jobs sort of have as a lament, that they're just doing one thing as opposed to being able to have the morning meetings, go to the pedicure, go boxing, you know, and really explore everything that they are, and uh, and bring all of that in. I still have about at least 3 careers that at some point I'm going to do. I think one of them will be a sort of lounge singer.
So when you grow up, when you
When I
figure
grow
out
up,
what you'd like to do.
exactly, and how many things I can do. Yeah, we working with, and when I moved to Rome, I worked in the TV business industry and film industry. I started a I started a film production company just because this friend of mine there said, I want to make a film and I'd like you to produce it. And I'm like, I've never done that. And he said, yeah, but you've organized large scale events, and you speak languages and you know how to manage things and you've had your own business. So you can definitely do it. And I said, really? And it's so much ease. How many skills do we have that prepare us really for being the invitation for people to just explore who they are and what they're capable of and what they have fun doing, and that you can have it all. They said you can't have your cake and eat it too.
You can.
You can.
And you can create anything you want whenever you want. So I love what you're talking about, Kass, because it really is. It's like you've never made. So if you're listening to this now, it's like you've never made a wrong choice, and it's like you're not wrong. It's like you haven't wasted your time, and it's like, I mean, I spent years just traveling around the world aimlessly, having lots of fun and tasting local wines and local whatever, and it was like, and I met so many people, and it was fabulous. And it's like, so everything, like Kass says, that you have done up until now can create your life and go beyond it and create your business anywhere and any way you choose. I mean, I've used quite a few times. It's like Colonel Sanders, and it's like from KFC. I'm not saying it was a great idea, but, he became successful at the age of 82, I think it was. Like he got his winning recipe. Not that I'm a big fan of KFC, but hey, it's like, but he became successful. What I'm a big fan of is he didn't give up. And it's like, he kept going, he kept going, he kept going. So it's like, I'm totally impressed with that. And it's like, what I would like to ask you guys listening is, what is it that you would like to create that you have decided that you cannot? It's like you've got all these justifications and reasons of why you can't go through with it. Either that you're too old, you're too young. It's like, it's too late now. It's like you don't have enough money. And it's like, yes, that is definitely one of the justifications. If you use money to justify why you're not creating something, then money will always be the excuse for why you're not creating something. So whatever it is that you're using and whatever it is that you have decided is why you cannot create, whatever it is you'd like to create in this world and have it as a business and make money from it, where you destroy and uncreate it, times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all known, shorts, boys and beyonds. And to find out more about that clearing statement, go to my website, accessjoyofbusiness.com, or theclearingstatement.com from Access Consciousness. So one of the things that I'd love to talk about when we get back to is with all of this, Kass, and it's like, I know you're working on a book called The Magic of Relating to Others with Ease. So traveling around, having all these opening up these different companies, your own theater and, film production company, etc., and so many different things. I know that there is a way to relate to people all around the world with a lot more ease. It doesn't need to be something that you're fearful of or something that you use as an excuse for not to.
OMTimes Radio, your conscious lifestyle on steroids. Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business. Being a radio host on IOM-FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Do you have time to read that inspiring book or that blog post you've been meaning to get to? In your busy world, how do you improve yourself and keep your life going? I'm Lisa Kay, and my Between Heaven and Earth radio show can transform your life just by listening. Be uplifted with inspiring topics, positive stories, and ideas that really work. Between Heaven and Earth Radio is conscious living for your soul, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
What if living didn't have to be so serious?
What if you could move beyond your problems with greater confidence and ease than you've ever imagined?
Throw your labels out the window and join the Irreverent Therapist for practical tips and a very different way of approaching the changes you would like to create.
Marilyn Bradford
and Pam Hodling
have empowered hundreds of people to come out of self-judgment, quit looking to experts, and begin to create the lives they desire.
Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Irreverent Therapist Show.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
So welcome back, everybody. Joy of Business with Simone Milasas and Kass Thomas. Now, interesting, it's like I couldn't hear the music come on, so I kept talking. But you know what? It's not wrong. So it's like, how many times would someone use that as a reason to sort of go, oh no, something happened there. So it's like, you got it wrong, you better not do something. And it's like exactly what I was saying before the break. And it's like, how many reasons do you have of why you've decided you can't create? And everything at that is times a godzillion where you're just trying to uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. So Kass, and it's like in your guest bio, which I usually read at the beginning, but we just sort of got straight into it.
We're so used to talking
exactly
to one another. It's so much ease that, a lot of times you say, oh, at 10 p.m. I have this thing. And I was like, I've got a conversation with Simone. Hello.
Exactly.
How's it get any better?
But one of the things that it says in your bio, right, that you've been traveling around the world for 10 years doing workshops and facilitating groups and individuals. She has realized that her ability to communicate with people goes beyond the norm. It's a talent. Can you give us a little bit more information about that? Maybe a couple of tools for people as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so funny that I remember Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, once said to someone that I said I was speechless, and he said, if you left Kass speechless, that's saying something, because she's the woman that can go on and on about anything. So I would say yes, as long as I remember the question, I can definitely say something on it. But, it's been a very interesting process. Thank you for mentioning the couple of books I have coming out. It's been a very interesting process writing the books and the magic of relating to others with ease, a little bit like that talk that I did in high school. In writing it, you realize how much you've been doing all of your life, how much every piece of your life that you haven't even thought about contributes to that. I have this sickness. I really, really love people. I really get a kick out of people. All kinds of people. I've always was the one that, had parties with, short people, tall people, thin people, large people, like just all of them, because they're all contribute something different. And I did a little intro in the beginning of this book in writing this sort of autobiographical thing. I get, even as a kid, that was sort of the composition of my life. And if I look at it now, it was obvious that I'd have an international life full of all different colors and flavors and languages and places. My mom worked in Boston. She was a nurse. She worked at Jewish Memorial Hospital. And my dad, when I was born, he was working in factories with Italian immigrants. So we had in our house, they brought home words, right? They brought home words that they picked up from these different immigrant cultures. My mother brought home Yiddish words, and my dad brought home Italian words. Now, they never told us that they were Italian or Yiddish words. They were just part of our family's vocabulary, and anybody who hung out with our family knew these words, like mashugana, which means, don't be a jerk, don't be a mashugana, don't be a jerk, type of thing, or cheeky, as the Brits say, and segek samia, the Yiddish words, which means 6 one, half a dozen the other, it's
Right.
so and so. And my dad, and it wasn't until I got to New York for college where I went to NYU, which is 80% Jewish. And the Jewish kids would say to me, this is so weird. Why do you speak Yiddish? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't speak Yiddish. You just said mashugana. I said, is that Yiddish? It's so. The reason and my dad would come home with the word kabish. I didn't know what kabish meant. I didn't understand kabish. And it's funny because kabish means, do you understand?
Right.
I just knew whenever he said kabish, with the hand gesture and everything, that you would say yes, because if you didn't say yes, it was you were in trouble.
Kabish?
So
Yeah.
Kabish, which is actually the
no, we grew up with that too.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, your dad was from Lithuania, right?
Yeah, he was. But I think, I don't know, all Aussies would use that. It's just something that we would use. Capiche?
Kabish?
Yeah.
And how much of that sort of flavor, and also, in like the third grade, I had this teacher. I mean, it was little, black kids in the ghetto of Boston. I had this teacher who every morning would write on the board in French, "Good morning, today is Monday. Good morning, today is Tuesday. Good morning, today is Wednesday." So, bonjour, aujourd'hui est lundi. Bonjour, aujourd'hui est mardi. And I just was like, I'm going to grow for a whole year. I'm going to grow up, and one day I'm going to speak French in France, in Paris, at 8 years old. And, how much do we make those commitments to ourselves? And at 21, I was in Paris in, my junior year abroad, speaking French.
So how many languages do you speak, Kass? You speak quite a few.
Well, I speak four, let's say. I mean, I speak English. Some people would debate that, but I definitely speak American. And I speak French was my second language that I acquired in my 20s. I acquired Spanish as well because my dad kept saying, "What are you learning that French for? You got to learn Spanish. It's the second language in this country." And I'm like, well, if everyone's going to be speaking it, I'll speak it sooner or later. Let me get the French. So I learned Spanish. And then I moved to Italy and learned Italian. Now, just because I love talking to people in their language, I love the way these different words vibrate on my tongue, vibrate in my body. And I often wonder if I grew up having this vibration in my body, how would I be different? Like if they weren't having English words vibrate in me, how would I be different? Would I think differently? Would I different words tickle me, and you can see just by learning one word in someone's language, when you greet them with that, that you've got your Italian words. When you greet them with that, it just tickles them. Their whole body relaxes. And it's an invitation, like I'm to people. I'm interested in your world too. It's not just about me. So I really enjoy going around and traveling around and not just visiting museums and visiting, like really getting a feel for the language, for the people, for their food, for how they live, and noticing how much more similar we are than different.
Hey, one of the things that you touched on that I really would like to sort of see if we can empower people with this is one of the things that you said is that you love all people, all types of people from, every sort of race, every sort of, whatever. And the one thing that I see that people do is they'll create barriers to other people rather than letting down their barriers. So because it's unusual for, most people are like, oh, I don't like this person, or they'll just, if they don't know them, they won't create this level of receiving from them. So do you have any, tools, one or two tools that people can actually start receiving from everyone around them? Because you know what, that will open up to more possibilities.
Absolutely. For me, it's a curiosity. Like I was saying, I'm curious about how different words vibrate, on your tongue or in your body. For me, it's a curiosity, how people live, how people grow up, how they see actually the world. And I get that it's not something that just like you said, that we're taught necessarily. On the contrary, we're more. I worked in politics for a while, and I thought that politics and diplomacy was actually about bringing people together. There is an investment sometimes on national levels and on international levels and on political levels in keeping you in that position of sort of separation and keeping your barriers up. Because if we really got how little separates us and how much unites us, then we probably would not enter into things like war, debates, racial cleansing, and all that other kind of stuff. as readily and as easily as we do. I used to, and perhaps this is helpful, I used to put together a film festival in Rome, an international film festival. It was a Mediterranean film festival. And you know all the cultures that are so close together in Italy. We had France and, of course, Spain and Italy, but we also had Israel and Syria and Lebanon. And we would have students, film students, come to Rome from those countries and participate on an international jury. And it was so interesting always at the beginning of the festival where the different countries would write, especially Israel and the Lebanese, make sure that, our students don't room with people from these countries, And inevitably, and I never am able to tell this story without getting a bit emotional myself, inevitably, every year, the Lebanese students and the Israeli students would be in a locked embrace on stage with tears in their eyes, thanking us for bringing them together and meeting their brothers, which their countries and their cultures don't allow, and knowing that they couldn't continue the communication once they went back to their countries. And I tell you, Simone, especially, I mentioned Israel and Lebanon. We also had Syria and from Egypt and from other Arabic nations. But the vibration of the Israelis and the Lebanese was so similar. If you close your eyes, and we work with energy quite a bit, if you close your eyes, the level of harmony and communication that goes on between those two lets you know that what is the lie of separation that we have allowed ourselves to be fed and that we buy, and how much communication can happen beyond borders, beyond language, beyond color, beyond race, if we simply allow people to be them. Really just incredible. And so with these amazing tools with Access and being you, I want to travel the world and share that.
Let's do it. After this break, we'll have a few more tools.
Your conscious lifestyle on steroids. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM. As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Hi, this is Sylvia Henderson, intuitive life coach and energy healer. Are you ready to elevate and rise way above your normal? Be sure to listen to my show, Intuitive Transformations, on OMTimes Radio, Sunday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern. Get the inspiration you need to transform your life.
Join Elliot Jolish, the business therapist, each Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern for the Elliot Jolish Hour, as he interviews business experts on your behalf. And you're invited to email your business questions to questions@ecjgroup.com for answers, live, on air every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on the Elliot Jolish Hour. The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio, IOM-FM.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Joy of Business. You're with Simone Milasas and joined with Kass Thomas. So we've been talking about going beyond and creating your life and your business anywhere you choose. And there's so much involved in all of that. It's, one of the things that we went to just before break was talking about relating to people with ease. And one of the tools that I would like to give you too is that literally it's like if you're about to go into a meeting and it's like you're going to a new job and it's like even if you're hiring someone or each time, like just practice it today or tomorrow, because wherever you are in the world, you're either beginning of the day or ending the day or in the middle of the day. And it's like practice just putting your barriers down. And it's like, what do I mean when I say putting your barriers down? And it's like you'll notice that there's some people that you relate to, and it's like it may be, your lover or your child or something like that, and it's like you don't have as many barriers with them, or sometimes you might have more barriers with them. And it's like if you just take a moment, take a breath, and just literally push all of the barriers down that you have around you. Look at them, feel them like sort of like a wall, like it's made of see-through bricks, and it's like just smash them down, push them down, and then start to relate to people. And it's like, and every time, when someone does something that's a little bit, confronting, or they might, sort of come in with anger or something like that. If someone's angry, it's like the first thing most people do is put their barriers up. And it's like, why do you put barriers up? Why has anyone put barriers up over the, hundreds and thousands of years on this planet? Is to protect themselves. But in truth, you as an infinite being, which is one of the things that we talk about in Access Consciousness, it's like you are an infinite being, which means you have the ability to perceive, know, be, and receive everything. Would you actually need to protect yourself? Or would it create more for you, more for your business, more for your money flows if you actually just pushed your barriers down? So now this is like, it's like a muscle. You have to build it, okay? So it's not like, oh, I pushed my barriers down, now I have no barriers. No, you'll find that they go back up. And it's like maybe if you use it with someone, is there someone in your life that you sort of have more conflict than usual with? And it's like, so it becomes very obvious. So practice with them. And it's like, keep putting the barriers down, keep putting the barriers down, keep putting the barriers down. Now, if you go into a business meeting like that, or you go into work like that, it's like that is a fantastic tool to start to relate to others. And what happens is you start to perceive more, you start to know more, you start to actually be more of you, okay? So you start to perceive, know, be, and receive everything around you. It's like that 360 degrees everywhere, spherical awareness. So everywhere that you haven't been willing to have the spherical awareness by putting barriers up that you think are protecting you when you don't actually require them, will you destroy and uncreate it? Times a godzillion. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Now, Kass, I think you have a process too that we can run here.
Absolutely. And I love that. I love that putting the barriers down. We really, it's like the prison. We put ourselves into this prison so that people can't get in with their arrows and with their daggers. But can you get out? And it's so funny when we're talking about business that we're asking, the universe or Yahweh or whoever we're asking to bring us more abundance, bring us more business, bring us more money, bring us more love. And we've got all these barriers to keep out what we don't want. And it's like, how do those things that you're asking for get in? Like they're trying to get in the front door, but it's all barricaded up. And they're trying to get in the windows, but it's all barricaded up because you're protecting yourself. And they're trying to get even in the back door, and it's all barricaded up. And it's like, how do I reach here?
And the funny thing is, what are you protecting? It's like, protecting yourself from what? From receiving, from more money, from more possibilities, from more fun, more ease?
Exactly.
So everything that is, let's destroy and uncreate it. Right now, good and bad, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
Exactly. And everywhere we have one small little window through which we're willing to receive, and we're trying to get a truckload, or we're asking for a truckload of gratitude, of money, of joy, of happiness, of love, and not giving it the opening to reach us. Can we destroy and uncreate all that?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, POD, POC, short, boys and beyonds. One of the things about the barriers, I love the tool of Access, who does it belong to? And when we're talking about relating to others with ease, it's an awesome tool to remember, because just like you were saying, our ability to perceive everything, pick up on everything, right? Feel, as people say in this reality, everything, and receive everything. How much of that contraction that we feel, you talked about getting ready to go into a meeting, that nervousness that we feel, that sort of sweat breaking out or resistance or anger that we feel isn't even ours? How much have we always been picking that up from other people and aware of what's going on in other people's worlds, what they're feeling, right? And how can we use that to our advantage? So everywhere we're not willing to recognize just how much we are aware what other people are thinking, feeling, perceiving, can we destroy and uncreate all that?
Yes.
Yeah, times a gazillion, right? That all night short
So
voice and
one of
beyond.
the tools
Yeah.
that Kass is just mentioning, who does this belong to? It's a question, okay? Now, we've spoken about question on Joy Business before, and it's like when you ask a question, it's like it gives you more information, basically. It empowers you to have more. So when you ask, and try this out, and you'll probably, some of you do it and a lot of you won't, but it's like, ask, who does this belong to for 3 days? For every single thought, feeling, and emotion that comes up, every single thing, okay? So even if you wake up happy, who does this belong to, okay? And you wake up sad or depressed, who does this belong to? Everything, okay? So everything that comes along, even the good stuff, because quite often the good stuff will lock you up more than what you would call, quote unquote, negative, because you lock that in and then you don't actually allow anything else to show up. So ask, who does this belong to? And if it lightens up, it's not yours. So it's like, what if you were just an empty vessel? I mean, how many times do you go to do something and it's like somebody else has already done it or they're just about to do it and you're like, oh, I was going to do that. And it's like, was that thought yours or was it somebody else's? So it's a fantastic tool, and it took me ages to use this tool. It took me quite a few years. So don't wait quite a few years because it actually is brilliant. Who does this belong to? Hey, I want to mention something here too, because I keep forgetting to mention this, and everyone on the Joy Business team was like, asking me if I'd mentioned it. I've got a book club starting. So I've got, as everyone knows, a Joy Business book that I've written. It's now translated into 6 different languages, so including English, it's in 7 different languages. If you want to know more about that, go to accessjoyofbusiness.com/book club. Okay, and you can sign up for it. I think it starts in 5 days. So you can buy the book online, as an ebook or, as a hardcover through Amazon, all those normal places, or through our website. Amazon's might be quicker, or the Kindle book. But it's a 6-month tele series. So it's by telecall. So if you miss one, we send you out the recordings. It's nice and easy. And it's going through different parts of the book, different questions. Now, the first one is on judgment in business. So I'm sure nobody has any points of view about, being in judgment of you being in business or even being in business. So if you want to join that, it's accessjoyofbusiness.com/book club. So it'll be lots of fun. There's people from all over the world. It is translated into all these different languages. Of course,
so much fun.
Yeah, you'll hear the language that you speak. So I won't be speaking all of them. I'll just be doing the English front or the Aussie front, whatever you want to call it. So if you want to join us, and it will help for you and your business and everything that we've been talking about today. It's like going beyond creating your life and your business anywhere you choose. Because anywhere that you don't perceive that anything is possible that you can create, can we destroy and uncreate that? Please, you can.
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So, Kass, we've got a couple more minutes before we go to break, but do you have any sort of, any more sort of pragmatic tools and tips that we can give to people to have more ease in social situations?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I did a teleseries on the magic of relating to others with ease, and it surprised me how much difficulty people have when entering into social situations, which is why I mentioned that who does this belong to? How much of that dis-ease in the social situations isn't even yours? And sometimes when we ask who does it belong to, Simone already mentioned that if it lightens up and goes away, it probably wasn't yours. And so this tool of light and heavy is something that I talk a lot about because I find it just brilliant in recognizing what is light for you, meaning what maybe makes you feel like smiling, what makes your heart lighten up, what is the truth for you, is right for you, is true for you, and what is heavy or makes you clench your solar plexus area, constrict, is probably or a pit in your stomach, is probably a lie for you. And so when you're in a social situation, lots of people have up barriers, lots of people are not receiving, lots of people are picking up on the contraction in everybody else's universe. So you might just want to ask the question, who is it that would be fun for me to talk to here? And the first person that you see, if they're light for you, the first person that you see is probably the person that would be fun for you to talk to. And it may not be the person you think. So what would it be like to ask a question, use the questions, and also know what's right for us in any given moment, and what will work for us in any given moment? And I definitely talk a lot about that as well. The other thing is...
Can I just interrupt for 1 second? Because you just reminded me of a really funny story. When you say, like, who would be fun to talk to, that's a great question. One of the things that Gary Douglas, the founder of Access, always said, if you're at a party or a social gathering and you see someone at the other side of the room and you're like, must have them, must talk to them, run. And he's like, it's usually from previous lifetime or something like that, that lust where you're just like, oh my goodness, like, they're the one sort of thing. It's run, because it's not going to end up in a great state. So right. I like your question, Kass. Who's going to be fun to talk to? Not, oh my God, I must have him or her.
Exactly. And who can receive me? Who is willing to receive me here? Who doesn't have their barriers up? Who would be kind? Who would be interesting? And I find interesting, I mean, even if you find the most boring person at the party, how much fun could you have discovering exactly how boring they are? You know what I mean? I mean, I'm amazed sometimes at how little people do in their lives. Is that possible, really? Well, I mean, do you
so
go
when
right
we come,
from work?
we're about to go to a break. So it's like, what I'd love to talk about too when we come back from the break is having a look at if you ever do get bored with people, and is it always fun and magic, or what sort of tools you have to deal with that? Because it's like quite often you can get so much out of different people. It's like you said, everybody has something, something different to offer. So, and that's all got to do with the magic of relating to others with these. So we'll be coming back and we'll be talking about, do you get bored with people, and is it always fun and magic, or what other tools do you have to offer, Miss Kass Thomas?
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Hi, this is Angela Levesque, host of Entanglement Radio. Join me Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern for inspiring conversations with visionaries in spiritual science and conscious healing. Entanglement Radio, Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern. Transcendent talk for the conscious mind.
The truth is, you can't change the world if you're broke. I know, I've tried. Isn't it time you turned your life's calling into a profitable, freedom-based business? I'm Michelle Barr. Join me every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern for Sacred Success.
Free your mind. Expand your soul. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Joy Business with Simone Milasas and Kass Thomas. So we left talking about boring people and the magic of relating to others with ease. So tell me, Kass, and it's like, do you ever get bored with people? And it's like, what sort of things do you do if you do, or tell me more.
You know what I realized recently? Because I don't get bored. I entertain myself quite a bit. And when you travel a lot, you see humor in a lot of things. I entertained myself quite a bit. It was funny. I did for years classes in Italian. And when I started doing classes in English, I realized, oh, maybe that's why people laugh a lot more when I talk English, maybe because they get my humor in English. But what I realized, and what I invite people to, and what people tell me anyway, is that this sort of presence, being present, being in your body, being present, willing to actually listen to people and be present with them, which is something that is so rare in this reality. People are often thinking about something else, and this is one of the
on
things
their
that I want to say.
iPhones, texting, Facebooking.
On their iPhone, but not only, they're standing in front of you, smiling and looking like they're listening, and they're completely somewhere else, thinking about shopping, thinking about their dinner, thinking about, and a lot of times we have the point of view that they must be judging us, so they must not like us, so they must find me boring because they're really not paying attention. What I find, what happens is you rarely have two people present in a conversation together. So your willingness to be present and be there with somebody actually is an invitation to them to come and be present. What usually happens is they say, hey, there's something different about this encounter. There's someone actually present. And then the other person gets bored and is already gone. And they're like, no, it's just another one of those encounters like that. And you find these people dancing back and forth. One's present, one's not. And they keep doing that. And many people do that for years, and they call it marriage, right?
So are you saying there's no
present.
boring people? It's just a matter of actually a choice of what they're choosing or what you're choosing?
Yeah, I guess I am saying that. And when you find yourself feeling what you've identified as bored, ask, is this person present? Are they here? And see if you are aware of no, meaning a sort of heavy feeling, or if you're aware of yes. And just by asking that question, you sort of invite them back to being present. In their body with you and have a conversation with you. So I don't think that there are boring people. I think that there are a lot of people that are bored, and therefore we pick up on their boredom and think that we're bored.
Well, and also you touched on it too about the judgment thing, because I do get a lot of people sort of go straight into judgment that anything that comes out of their mouth is not either not going to be received, or it's like it's never been received before, so they don't believe that it's going to be received this time. And it's like, that there's topics that they're not allowed to talk about. It sort of makes me want to be naughty and start talking about, I don't know, sex or religion or politics or something that's going to be, confronting to them. And it's like, what if we had the magic and we had the potency to actually assist people in pushing their barriers down? I mean, I started a business years and years ago called Good Vibes for You. And the whole idea of creating that business, the whole theme behind it was to empower people to sort of know what they know, which is the Access, tagline, and to create more vulnerability with people. Like I wrote this whole piece. That was my business plan, by the way, guys. And it's like my business plan for Good Vibes for You was an article that I wrote on vulnerability. Because I really desired that people who knew each other, who didn't know each other, like most of the time, people meet, they sort of go and put up all these barriers rather than just being like, hi. And like what Kass is talking about, it's like the willingness to be present with people. It's like if you're willing to be present, there's so much more that can show up. So I wrote this whole piece on vulnerability as my business plan because I desired to, anything I created within that business, I desired to have that as a tool and empower people to have more vulnerability. Because like if you had, the way I saw it, and like what you were mentioning before, Kass, it's like if we had more vulnerability, and it's like, would people have to go to war? And it's like, would there be conflict? It's like, or would you actually be able to, perceive, know, be, and receive everything that where everyone else is functioning from, and then make a choice, ask questions. Nobody looks the same. Nobody's bodies are the same. And it's like, nobody functions the same. Nobody has the exact same point of view. There's always something that's slightly different. And it's like, what if we actually, had the tool of learning to receive that? And it's like, and it's okay. So it's like what Kass is talking about. It's like in social situations, every time you meet someone, it's like, who would be fun for you? Who would I learn something from here? I love learning new tools. And it's like, I remember when the iPhone came out, and it's like, and the first thing I did, anyone who had one, I was like, what's your favorite app? And it's like, so I would start to gather more information, and I'd have all these apps rather than having to search for it. And it's like, so how many times are you searching for something, in business and in your traveling, without just asking a question of somebody else? Everybody, like you mentioned before, Kass, has something more to offer, has something different to offer. So everywhere that you're not willing to receive that from everybody, where you destroy and uncreate it. Times a godzillion. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. Hey, Kass, I wanted to also mention, it's like people can find you on kassthomas.com, which is spelled KASSTHOMAS.com. They can learn more about you there. You're also a certified facilitator in Access Consciousness, and also a body facilitator, so which is lots of fun, quite amazing. That's where you've just been in Hungary doing a body class. So you can also find Kass on accessconsciousness.com website. Look up Kass Thomas, or you can find her on my site, because I've got her with the OMTimes. So what have you got coming up here? Besides, you're working on the other book that we haven't mentioned is Dancing with Riches. And the one that you're working on too is The Magic of Relating to Others with Ease. So what else have you got coming up that could be fun for people to meet you, etc.?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. And also just want to say, please go and like my page on Facebook, which is The Art of Being Kass. I'll be in Venice for a 3-day body class and some fun classes, The Right Voice for You tasters also, and that is April 24th through 26th in the lovely city of Venice. And in Estonia, my first time to Tallinn, May 15th through 17th, and an evening class there on this tool of light and heavy, finding your answers in the universe. And then I'm heading over to North America, to Toronto, May 22nd through 24th, and Vegas. The original Mafia returns. I'm playing with some stuff with that, with the lovely Karen Jones, Las Vegas, for Memorial Day weekend in the States, and Seattle.
Awesome.
So that'll be fun, right? And then I'll be heading back to Stockholm for a 3-day body class with my buddy Vladdy there. Be in Paris with Dr. Dane here in September, so with a Being You class. So hopefully people will come and check that out. And really just inviting people to show up, be who they are, be present, and with their bodies, how much body information you can receive from your bodies, and how much you being the space, expanding, letting down your barriers. It's so amazing, and I'm so glad you talked about barriers. It's so amazing. I play with that in the body class. When you let down your barriers, how much the people and the bodies around you relax.
Yeah.
So also try that, letting down your barriers when you're in a party, when you're in a social setting. Just try that. I usually start with my hands. Tell people to start with their hands parallel to the ground above their head, and just slowly push their hands down towards the ground, and feel as if you were pushing down your barriers physically, and just feel when it stops, when they're no longer going down. Usually you feel this relaxation in your chest area, and the back of your shoulders, in your solar plexus area. And just allow that to wash down your body. And you can try that in the morning. It's a lovely exercise to do. And also from your solar plexus area, just to keep breathing, of course, and expand out. And just as if you were pushing, like Simone said, as if you were pushing the sides of a box out. And you can do that with your hands physically, have them facing one another in front of you at the level of your solar plexus, and just extend them out and keep breathing. A lot of people hold their breath when they do that.
I like the way you keep breathing, obviously.
Keep breathing.
You have such a beautiful, sexy voice, and it's like you could do the, pushing down barriers with Kass Thomas, this little like meditation thing, because I'm like, oh, as you're listening to your voice, it's so nice. So
absolutely, I do have that on my website actually as a free gift when you sign up.
Nice. So you can go to kassthomas.com.
10-15 sort of guided meditation just to connect with your body and with the earth. A nice morning exercise to do that.
I love
how much easier it is to communicate with people when you do that.
So one of the things I wanted to add to that too is if you are pushing the barriers down and you find that it's sort of like Kass says, it gets to this, spot and it's like you feel that crunch, just use that clearing statement that we use. Or if you can't remember it, just go pock and pod everything that doesn't allow me to really let go of all these barriers. Okay. So pock and pod, it's point of creation, point of destruction, and then keep pushing them down like what Kass said. And it's like, I love that analogy too of like, sort of using your hands to do it. So it gives you more of that sort of space to do that. So, and it's like, and then immediately when they go up, go, okay, so is this mine? Who does this belong to? That tool we gave you, the question. And it's like, if it lightens up, it's not yours. And then push them back down again. And see if you can do it for like a week. And every time you go to work, every time you're at business, every time you're at home, it's like every day. It's like when you wake up throughout the day, it's like, I don't know, set an alarm on your phone. And it's like, it's barrier time, And it's like, see if pushing your barriers down doesn't create more money for you, doesn't create more possibilities for you. Because people actually wish to gift to you. I mean, one of the things last night I spoke to my son, he was being all funky and weird. And I said, when you're like that, and it's like, I don't wish to give you anything. When you're actually you, it's like, I wish to give you the world. So I've actually got Brendan Watt, my partner, on next week on OMTimes. So we look forward to talking to you then. And thank you so much, Kass Thomas, for joining me all the way from Hungary.
Thank you.
I love you lots, and I'll speak to you
Love you
later.
lots too.
Thanks everyone for joining
Bye-bye.
us on Joy of Business, OMTimes.
A conscious lifestyle.